There's all sorts of footage on YouTube of masters who are not touching anyone and having them move, and their students all fall down, and then they go to fight someone for real and they get their face punched in. Over the years, I've seen multiple cultures do this. I've also been to see it live. If this doesn't work, why do people keep doing it? Well, this is why. I personally believe we have extra senses, right? Most people, when you ask them to go like this for any extended period of time, can feel like pressure between their hands. You can almost feel that field around your body. You also be hard pressed to find just about anyone who hasn't looked over somewhere and realized somebody's staring at them. Our bodies kind of have a built-in self-defense that we feel. So what happens in martial arts, when you do things for many years, you develop a feel, a sensitivity, and as you get better and better and better, that sensitivity gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And what happens is in my personal opinion, really good martial artists have that ability to kind of feel the motion just a little bit ahead of where it moves. Right? There's a sensitivity there that most people don't have. And then what happens is their students over time develop that sensitivity. So what happens is on some level it's sort of real. I've seen it where I've done this with people where they can feel pressure on my hands. And on some level, if you do it enough, they'll kind of almost move with you a little bit from the pressure because they're letting it happen and they're sensitive to it. So what happens is when people start training and they start doing these things, when people are going back and forth, what happens is they almost start moving ahead, both of them do. And then over time, because they only work with those people, at some point people start believing in their minds that they can use this in a fight because they have partners that are actually going with them. Now, are they going with them because of that? Kinda, and they can kind of feel it. Is that really going to work? If someone's trying to really hurt you, I'm not so sure. So the problem with this work is that a lot of times people get deluded with themselves and they believe it's going to work. And then what happens is they start teaching it to their students who really have no reason to be learning this right now. And then it gets dangerous because their students start to believe it. And then they face people who really know how to fight and bad things happen. So is there any value to this whatsoever? Yes, there is. If you're working with high-level people and you're very sensitive to their emotions and you want to practice trying to be sensitive to their emotions ahead of time, I think it does help you in a physical fight. Not because I'm moving him or I'm going to throw him with my mind, because it just makes my reaction time a little quicker. So when people start doing these things like this, where they're going back and forth trying to feel the motions, or they're trying to push each other back and forth a little bit and just kind of feel that field a little bit, that's okay. But if you're going to do such things, you also have to do it with people who don't feel it and people aren't sensitive. I'll give you a realization that, hey, this isn't going to work against someone who's coming at me, who's really strong and mean, is trying to tackle me. So if you're going to do such a thing, number one, you should never do it with anyone who hasn't mastered the physical yet. If you have students, they have to understand physically how the body works. You cannot start people who have no idea how to use the body with you have to understand this is a supplement to what you're doing. If you have to start with the physical first, if you can start getting lighter and lighter and lighter, that's fine. If you can start using, and eventually, right, you start from very deep to light grip to very light touch to hopefully no touch at all. But again, it's a supplement. It's not a fight. It's just trying to teach you sensitivity. So when you grab them, you have better sensitivity to their movements physically, not because you're trying to move them with your mind. Don't start believing in your head that you're just going to walk into a crowd of people and psychically take them down. It's not going to happen. If you start deluding yourself, you're going to get hurt really badly. You're going to face someone who's going to challenge you one day, and it's not going to work. So work with people who are sensitive enough to move with you, but then work with people who aren't going to be sensitive to work with you so you can see where the failures of it are. And the last thing I would say with this, if you are going to do this work, don't show it. Number one, it's a supplement. It's not meant as a fight. It's a parlor trick. But number two, it delegitimizes your art. It makes you look really badly. Even if I can do this, which I can't say, I'm not saying I can, I would never show it. Not in a million years. Because it's just asking, for people to just destroy you online, number one. But number two, eventually you're going to get challenged by somebody who really wants to fight you while you're practicing a drill. And that's where you get hurt. Is there some truth to it? There probably is. I've seen too many cultures and too many people do it to believe that there's nothing there. But a lot of people take it and apply it wrong. They're trying to make some magical art out of it at some point, and it's not what it is. The reality is everything you do is a supplement, and it should only be done if you really, really, really have mastered your art physically. And even then, other than sensitivity, it has no value in fighting. So be careful what you get sucked into. If you see people doing this stuff and they believe they're trying to tell you that this is how you're going to use it in combat, you should be running the other way. If they go, hey, we're going to do our art for 20 years and this is a supplemental drill just to teach you sensitivity, maybe it's something you want to learn down the road for fun, but it's not your priority. It's not the first thing you should learn. And you definitely shouldn't learn it for a really long time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please watch the next two. I think you'll find them very helpful.